Okay, today is April 10th, 2015. I have not made a video for some time now, but I have been doing some work on my little Chevy S10 Tahoe, my 91 Chevy S10 Tahoe. So I thought I would do an update on this, as I'm going to be doing some more work on it. Replaced the starter on this a month and a half ago or so, maybe a little bit longer. We got a brand new starter down there and I'm really happy with it. It's turning over really nicely, it's sounding good, and everything is just fine there. So glad we got that job done. I got a fairly new alternator on this, about a year old. Got a new serpentine belt. Did a new cap and rotor on it about a month and a half ago, because I couldn't get it started. If you saw my starter videos, replacing the starter videos, you saw me doing all that. Anyway, recently I have, I got a new battery too. It's a couple of months old. The old one died on me. But I don't think I talked about the fact that over the winter, my coolant temperature gauge inside stopped working on me. So that's been like a top priority to get that done for the summertime, and summer is basically here now, even though it doesn't feel like it today. And I got my gauge fixed. I had to replace my coolant temperature sensor, you see there, brand new one, and I replaced the coolant temperature sender. And replacing those two got my gauge working again. So it was either one of those or both. I don't know which, but my coolant temperature gauge seems to be working just fine now. Pretty happy with that. I also replaced my thermostat in there. New filter, of course. New gasket, of course. I also drained the coolant out of it, the old stuff out of it, and flushed it out twice. Everything that came out of here looked really good. So it's got brand new coolant in it now. I didn't replace my hoses, either one of them, or my radiator hoses. They seem like they're in pretty good shape, so I could do that later on this summer. And I also got a new air filter in there. So we got a lot of stuff done on this. It's running really good. And another new thing I got a canopy on it now. As you can see, it's not a super nice fitting canopy, but it's okay. It's not real form fitting like it could be, but I paid $40 for this thing. I bought it off the friend. The paint matches almost the color of the truck. Definitely needs painting on top. It needs to be painted again, but it fits on there real good. The windows are in good shape, and the rear hatch is all good, so I'm happy with it. What can you say for $40? So my next project on this truck is going to be adding some gauges. As I said, I just got my water temperature gauge working down there. It is fine. I just ran it, that's why it's up over 100 degrees. But it's working good. The one above that is a voltmeter. It's working okay. And then I've got oil pressure over here, and it seems to be okay as well. The gas gauge, of course, it's kind of a crapshoot. Sometimes it works, sometimes it gets stuck, but it's pretty easy to just keep track of the gas that I'm putting in it and using. So I've decided that I want to add a couple of more gauges. The one that I really want to have is a amp meter, so I can kind of see what the alternator's doing. I installed an amp meter years ago on a Chevelle I owned, and I really enjoyed seeing just what the alternator was doing. I don't remember how I hooked it up, so I'm going to have to go back and research that. But I'm going to get myself an amp meter and I'm going to stick it in here. And I'm thinking I got room here for another gauge as well. And I also want to put in another cigarette lighter. Because these days you need to have some charging space, and the cigarette lighter will charge up basically any of the adult toys that we all seem to have. So I'm going to add another one of these. So what we're looking at here is the spot where the original AM/FM radio for this truck was at. The radio didn't work when I got this thing back in 2010, and I finally pulled it out one day and I found out that somebody had taken it out and had cut into all the wires and had tried to add or to hook up some kind of a system to the radio, probably to make a big loud stereo. And it was just all fried. It was about the worst big Mickey Mouse job I'd ever seen. So I threw the radio out. There's a speaker in there for a shortwave single sideband radio that I once had installed in this truck in a console that would fit right here. I may actually put that back, I'm not sure. But that's what the speaker is for, and that's what all this wiring here is for, to hook up the sideband radio transceiver. So I'm going to take this out today. It's pretty easy to get out of there, take my speaker out, and just kind of see what kind of space I have, because I haven't been in there for years. Okay, there's only 3 screws to hold this thing on. And taking this thing apart, I can't believe how I had this thing jury-rigged to hold this grill in place. I'm really laughing quite a bit just looking at how I did this. I had wood stuck in here, and pieces of cardboard taped together to keep the grill in place here. And there's my speaker in there. This is really a very big opening that held this. It was like the factory stereo system with a power supply or equalizer or something. And as you can see, it's a big space, but this speaker is just a simple little plug-in speaker that plugs into the radio, the transceiver radio, and it'll be a piece of cake to just mount this anywhere underneath the dash where it wouldn't be seen if I'm going to use it. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to put that sideband transceiver back in here. That's something I need to decide this summer. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all this junk out of here and see what kind of space I got. Alright, here's our little AM/FM radio front piece here. As you can see, the opening is pretty big on that. Plenty big enough to hold 2 gauges, aftermarket gauges, plus another cigarette lighter area. Plenty room there to do that, I think. And here's our fancy little grill work, and I've noticed on the back, I actually dated it when I built this thing. 10/21 of 2010, so it's been almost 5 years since I put that in there. Not surprising that I forgot how I had rigged it all up in there. So I haven't even went out and looked for gauges yet. I'm gonna actually start doing that in the next couple of days. Buy a set of gauges and see what I like to put in there. I'm just not even sure yet. I do have this nice piece of metal that I had out in the shop. I don't remember what I was using that for, but it's very thin, and I think it'll make a wonderful backing piece. Although it'd probably be easier to get some kind of a piece of plastic to fit in there. It'd be easier to cut out, but got everything to do this little job. I just need to pick up some gauges and figure out what I want to do. So let's go in there and clear that little space out now. Alright, I got my speaker out of there now. Back in 2010, when I went ahead and built this radio into this dash, I added this second fuse block. Hopefully the camera can see right there. And it has a switch that I added to turn it on and off. And this is my wiring for the sideband radio. I got 2 hot wires right here. I just tested them with my test light. And then the black one here that the test light's connected to is my ground. So I got 2 positives and a ground wire that I can use for the gauges and the second, this thing, cigarette lighter. And while we're in here, this is the mess that used to be the original stereo. And this is what I found. This is the the connector that was connected to the stereo system. And this is what some stupid had done, had gotten into this thing, trying to do something. And as I said, the original stereo didn't work. And this is the reason why. The fuse was blown, of course, so there's no power running to this. I took the old fuse out. It has no fuse in it because I just will never use this ever again, obviously, because this is just a disaster. I can't believe people do that kind of stuff. And a lot of these wires just don't go anywhere. They're like speaker wires or whatever they had going on. I don't know. So the bottom line is I got plenty of room to do 2 more gauges here and another cigarette lighter for charging purposes. So sometime in the next couple of days we're going to go pick up some gauges someplace. I haven't even shopped around for any, but there's plenty of places to go, and then we'll start working on this project. So for now, that's it. Thanks for watching.